More than 1,000 years ago, long before modern nations existed, the cold lands of Scandinavia were home to a people whose name would echo through history. They were warriors, explorers, traders, shipbuilders, and settlers. To their enemies, they were feared raiders arriving from the sea without warning. To history, they became known as the Vikings. The Viking Age began around the late 8th century, but the story of the Vikings started much earlier in the rugged landscapes of present-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Life in Scandinavia was not easy. Long winters, rocky terrain, and limited farmland forced people to become resilient and resourceful. Communities depended on farming, fishing, hunting, and trade to survive. As populations grew, competition for land and resources increased. Many ambitious leaders and young warriors began looking beyond their homeland for new opportunities. At the same time, Scandinavian shipbuilders were developing vessels unlike any the world had seen before. These ships would change history. The Viking longship was a masterpiece of engineering. Built from wood and designed for speed and flexibility, it could cross open oceans and navigate shallow rivers. With its sleek shape and powerful sail, the longship allowed Vikings to travel farther than most people thought possible. In the year 793 CE, the world got its first glimpse of what was coming. On a small island off the coast of England stood the monastery of Lindisfarne. It was a peaceful religious center filled with valuable treasures and manuscripts. One day, Viking ships appeared on the horizon. The warriors came ashore and launched a sudden attack. The monastery was looted, and its inhabitants were left shocked and terrified. News of the raid spread across Europe. Many viewed it as a sign of disaster. For historians, this event is often considered the beginning of the Viking Age. Following Lindisfarne, Viking raids became more frequent. They struck coastal towns, monasteries, and trading centers throughout England, Ireland, Scotland, and mainland Europe. Their speed and unpredictability made them difficult to defend against. But the Vikings were not simply raiders seeking treasure. Many were traders who established networks stretching across continents. Viking merchants traveled through rivers in Eastern Europe, reaching the Byzantine Empire and even the distant markets of the Islamic world. They exchanged furs, amber, iron, and slaves for silver, silk, spices, and other valuable goods. As Viking influence expanded, they established settlements far from Scandinavia. Some settled in Ireland and founded cities that would later become major urban centers. Others settled in parts of England and France. One group of Viking settlers arrived in northern France and became known as the Normans. Over time, they adopted local customs and language. Their descendants would eventually conquer England in 1066, forever changing British history. The Vikings were also among history's greatest explorers. Around the year 870, Norse settlers began colonizing Iceland. The island offered new land and opportunities for families seeking a better life. Within decades, a thriving Viking society emerged there. Later, a famous explorer named Eric the Red sailed west and discovered Greenland. After being exiled from Iceland, he established settlements on the icy island and encouraged others to join him. His son, Leif Erikson, would go even farther. Around the year 1000, Leif Erikson crossed the Atlantic Ocean and reached North America nearly 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus. The Vikings established a small settlement in an area they called Vinland, believed to be located in present-day Newfoundland, Canada. Although the settlement did not last long, archaeological discoveries have confirmed that Vikings reached North America centuries before other Europeans. Back in Scandinavia, Viking society was organized into communities led by chieftains and kings. Most Vikings were farmers who worked hard to support their families. They raised livestock, cultivated crops, and built homes designed to withstand harsh winters. Family played a central role in Viking life. Men, women, and children all contributed to the household. Women often managed farms and family affairs, while men traveled for trade, exploration, or warfare. Compared to many societies of the time, Viking women enjoyed a relatively high degree of independence and could own property, inherit wealth, and seek divorce under certain circumstances. The Vikings were also skilled craftsmen. Their jewelry, weapons, ships, and artwork displayed remarkable creativity. Intricate patterns featuring animals, dragons, and mythical creatures decorated many of their creations. These artistic traditions remain admired today. Religion was another important part of Viking culture. Before Christianity spread through Scandinavia, Vikings followed the ancient Norse religion. They believed in a world filled with powerful gods and supernatural beings. Among the most important gods was Odin, the wise ruler associated with knowledge, magic, and war. Thor, the god of thunder, protected humanity with his mighty hammer. Freya was connected to love, beauty, and fertility. The Vikings believed that brave warriors who died in battle could be welcomed into Valhalla, a magnificent hall ruled by Odin. There they would prepare for Ragnarok, a great battle that would bring about the end of the world and the beginning of a new one. Norse mythology was rich with stories of heroes, giants, monsters, and gods. These legends were passed down through generations and continue to inspire books, movies, and television shows today. As Viking power grew, so did their political influence. In England, Viking armies conquered large territories and established what became known as the Danelaw. For many years, Viking rulers controlled significant portions of the country. One of the most famous Viking leaders was Knut the Great. During the early 11th century, he ruled an empire that included England, Denmark, and Norway. His reign demonstrated how the Vikings had evolved from raiders into powerful rulers. However, the Viking Age would not last forever. Over time, Scandinavian kingdoms became more centralized and organized. Christianity spread throughout the region, gradually replacing traditional Norse beliefs. Kings strengthened their authority and saw greater stability. At the same time, European kingdoms improved their defenses against Viking attacks. Fortifications became stronger, armies became better organized, and coastal communities were better prepared to resist raids. The final major event, often associated with the end of the Viking Age, occurred in 1066. That year, the Norwegian king, Harald Hardrada, launched an invasion of England. Initially successful, his forces were eventually defeated at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. Many historians consider this battle to mark the end of the Viking Age. Yet the Vikings did not disappear. Their descendants remained throughout Scandinavia and the lands where they had settled. Their influence could be seen in language, culture, trade, exploration, and government. Today, traces of Viking heritage can be found across Europe and beyond. Archaeological discoveries continue to reveal new information about their lives, ships, settlements, and achievements. Modern research has challenged many stereotypes about the Vikings. While they were certainly capable warriors, they were also farmers, merchants, explorers, craftsmen, poets, and lawmakers. Their society was complex and far more sophisticated than the image of simple raiders often portrayed in popular culture. The Vikings helped connect distant regions through trade and exploration. They expanded the boundaries of the known world and demonstrated extraordinary courage in navigating some of the most dangerous waters on Earth. Their ships carried them across oceans. Their stories survived centuries. Their legacy continues to fascinate people around the world. More than 1,000 years after the first Viking ships appeared on foreign shores, the legend of the Vikings remains alive. They were explorers who ventured into the unknown, warriors who shaped kingdoms, and adventurers whose journeys changed history forever. The Viking Age may have ended, but the story of the Vikings continues to sail through time, reminding us of humanity's endless desire to explore, discover, and leave a mark on the world.